Welcome to this Callcabinet how-to video in which we will describe how you are able to create your own dashboards. On these dashboards you are able to apply visuals and filters that will assist you in visualizing all your call data in your Callcabinet account. In order to use Callcabinet, you need to go to your URL of your account, then enter in your username, which is your email address, and the password. Once you've done this, you click on the login button. When you log into Callcabinet, by default you will be taken to the recording tab of Callcabinet's application. Now, depending on your account, you may see more tabs. So for example, on this particular account, I have permission to log into the analytics portal of Callcabinet as well as the partner portal. For this how-to video, we are interested in looking at analytics. So click on the analytics tab to migrate to that portal. Upon entering into the analytics portal, you'll be taken to the My Dashboards. And underneath the My Dashboards, you will see that there is a carousel, and inside this carousel there is a left pointing arrow and a right pointing arrow, allowing you to maneuver yourself through this carousel as more and more dashboards get added to it. By default, there is a single dashboard that has been created for you, and the metrics that are associated with this dashboard are displayed beneath it. Each one of these visuals contain information that is pertinent to your account. You will also notice that at the top of the screen there are a couple of filters. Now, these filters were created when this dashboard was created itself, and you are able to use these filters to select and set criteria associated with this dashboard. And as you change this criteria, so the values inside each one of the visuals will change accordingly. Not only are you able to use the filters that were created for you automatically, but you can add a filter to the selected filters by clicking on the Add Filter button, selecting the filter that you require, and then once it has been added to the already existing filters, once again you may apply criteria, thereby changing the metrics of the visuals. On the left hand side of this view is a small menu consisting of 3 items. The first item is a search field in which you are able to start typing in the names of the dashboards that are currently inside your carousel. So if you are looking for a particular dashboard and you know the name of that dashboard, you may start typing in that board's name inside the search field. Once Callcabinet locates that dashboard for you, you are able to click on it and start viewing the visuals from that dashboard. Secondly, in this menu you have the My Dashboards. Clicking on this item will render the screen that is currently being displayed at the moment. The third item is the Manage Dashboards. Manage Dashboards view allows you to not only create your own custom dashboards from scratch, but it also allows you to use templates that have been pre-created for you, and you are able to tailor-make those templates to meet your needs. Let us go and discuss how we are able to manage our own dashboards. But before doing so, remember, what is the purpose of a dashboard? A dashboard is a display area in which you are able to place visuals, and these visuals display metrics about your account. Using these visuals, you are then able to make informed decisions for your business. So let's see how we go about creating our own dashboards by clicking on the Manage Dashboard menu item, which takes us to the Manage Dashboard view. And this Manage Dashboard view is made up of 2 tablatures. The default tablature, which is My Configured Dashboards, and another tablature, which is Dashboard Templates. The default tablature, My Configured Dashboards, will display all the dashboards that you have configured. The reason why one is displayed right now is because a default dashboard has been created for you. Now, as you add more and more dashboards, so these dashboards will be rendered on this view and you're able to see them. There are a couple of ways in which you are able to go and create your own dashboards that will be added to this page. The first way is by clicking on this Add Dashboard plus sign over here, and the second way is by clicking on the dashboard templates. Let's look at the second way first by clicking on the dashboard templates tablature. Clicking on the dashboard templates tablature takes us to the dashboard templates page, and you will immediately see that there are at least 7 dashboards that have been pre-created for you. And these templates you are now able to use as is, or you can modify them as required. Under each one of these template dashboards are a number of visuals. These visuals will be attached to your data, and you will be able to view the metrics associated with your account. So viewing these metrics for each of these dashboards will then provide you with an informed decision as how you need to manage your business. During the process of creating a dashboard, tags may be attached to that dashboard. In a very similar way we do that in our call listing page on calls. Now, once those tags have been attached to the dashboards, we may use those tags as a search or filter tool. So for instance, if we want to find with all these dashboards here, are there any dashboards that are able to show interactions data? And we can then go ahead and just click on the interactions button next to the tag's name. When we do that, filtering takes place and all the dashboards whose visuals will display interactions will be rendered on the screen. In a similar manner, we can say we would like to have all the interactions as well as any business risk dashboards displayed, please. And so we click on the business risk tag, and immediately any business risk dashboards will be rendered. To revert back to the original view where we saw all the dashboard templates, we can just go and click on those tags and unhighlight them, and upon doing so, all the available dashboard templates will be rendered. Another way in which you are able to filter out your dashboards is by going to this search field and start typing in the sequence of characters associated with the dashboard that you're looking for. So for example, if we go to the search field and we start typing EX, you will suddenly see that there's a dashboard here where it is called customer experience, where the word experience is present, and therefore those characters EX are there, and so you have now located your dashboard. To revert back to viewing all the dashboards again, all you need to do is go ahead and clear the search field, and there you go. All the dashboards that are available to you are now shown on the screen. Should you want to know a little bit more information about each one of these dashboards and the metrics that they can offer you, what you are able to do is hover over the shortened description of each dashboard, and as you hover over it, so a more verbose description is rendered. So as you move over each one of the dashboard's descriptions, you will see a more verbose one appear, giving you greater detail as to the purpose of that particular dashboard. And you may then be able to decide which dashboard is pertinent for you at the moment. Now that you've got a better understanding of the dashboard templates, why don't we go ahead and look at how can you use one of these templates as the basis of creating one of your own dashboards. So to do so, let's go ahead and we're going to select a particular dashboard. Let's click on the agent's dashboard, and as we click on the agent's dashboard, we are taken into a dashboard editor. Inside this editor are a number of individual cards, but the main thing is that you can see all the filters as well as all the current visuals that have been associated with this particular dashboard. So for this dashboard template, what do all these visuals do for you? So for example, the agent KPI card. This is a wonderful card in that it provides an at-a-glance summary of the agent's sentiment, the agents that have improved and regressed, positive engagements and negative engagements, as well as a summary of the interactions. The KPI card provides an immediate overview of each agent's performance metrics, allowing managers and stakeholders to quickly assess how individual agents are performing in terms of sentiment and engagement. The next visual that was applied to this dashboard template is the interactions by agent with drill down for audio duration bins and audio duration in terms of minutes. And this visual allows for the straightforward comparison of the number of interactions handled by each agent. It helps identifying high-performing agents, as well as those who may need additional support. The next visual that was added to this particular dashboard template is the interactions and agent sentiment by date, and with a drill down for hour and day. This visual allows users to compare different categories or groups. The added sentiment line shows how the sentiment changes over time, which allows the identification of trends. Fourth visual that was added to this dashboard template is the production time split visual. And this chart provides a clear overview of how each agent spends their time each day. So by comparing the segments of production versus unproductive time, managers can quickly identify which agents are maximizing their productive time and which may be spending too much time in non-productive activities. The fifth and final visual that has been added to this dashboard is the business risk call listing visual. Now, this table shows all the calls that occurred during the selected time period and gives users the ability to view a specific call when clicking on the call link. This time period, incidentally, will be set by the filter that has been applied to this dashboard. The table also displays the number of business risk issues that were mentioned on each call, as well as the duration of the call and the agent who handled the call. Now that you have an understanding of what a dashboard is, what a dashboard template is, what visuals are, and how they are shown on your dashboard, a decision needs to be made. And the decision is this: do I use this template as it is without any modifications and attach it to my data, or do I go ahead and make changes to this template using the template as a base? Let us assume that you want to use this template as it is with no further changes. To do so, you scroll to the top of the screen, and the first important thing I would do is change the name of the template to one that is applicable to you. So I'm going to call it My Agents, and once I've done that, I then move to the top right hand side and click on Save Dashboard. Once you do that, you will see that Callcabinet will tell you that the dashboard has been saved successfully, and you are taken back to your managed dashboards, back to your My Configured Dashboards tablature, and notice now that your new dashboard appears inside that view. Now that your dashboard appears part of your configured dashboards, how do you actually go and view the data and the metrics associated with each one of the visuals? Well, what you do is you go to My Dashboards, you click on the My Dashboards menu item, and then the dashboard that has the line surrounding it is the one that is currently going to be rendered. Notice all your other dashboards will still appear in this carousel as well. And remember, you can move left or right inside this carousel. So notice now that your My Agents dashboard, which you created earlier, has now rendered all the views with associated data that you can now look at and see trends that are pertinent to your particular business. Again, you can go and fiddle with the filters if you want to, and as you change the date and time, so these particular metrics will change as well. Let us go back to our managed dashboards and go back to our dashboard templates once again. For this next discussion, let us assume now that you are wanting to use one of these templates as a basis for you to create a new template. And to do that, all you need to do is click on one of the templates that you're wanting to use. So for example, let's go ahead and click on the overview template. So inside this dashboard, you are now able to go and make changes that you feel will be appropriate for the dashboard you are currently going to create. But before we do that, let's go and discuss how this dashboard editor is laid out. On the left hand side is the name of the current template you're working with and the current name it has been assigned. You can change that name by entering a new name inside the title edit field over here, and you can go and change the description. Remember when we hovered over the description of each one of our templates, a more verbose description was rendered? Well, it is here that that more verbose description gets entered. The next item that you can set on your dashboard is whether this dashboard should be the default dashboard or not. What that means is if this checkbox is checked, this will be the dashboard that will open up by default every time you go to My Dashboards menu item. You are able to change the layout of your visuals to a long vertical left hand side and a number of even blocks on the right hand side, or even square blocks across your whole dashboard, so on and so forth. You can experiment with these, but you can decide on which layout you'd like to have per dashboard. And another important aspect per dashboard is that you are only allowed a maximum of 6 visuals per dashboard. And as you add visuals, so the number will increase until such time it is the same as the maximum number. Should you remove any visuals, naturally this number will decrease by that amount. Remember earlier we spoke about you are able to add a tag next to your dashboard in order for you to filter out all the dashboards to find a specific dashboard. Well, under the tag section, this is where you can enter one or more tags if necessary. And as you enter each tag, you would add each tag that you require to be associated with this particular dashboard. You are able to add filters, and this is the filter section. I can remove filters or add filters. And remember, what is the purpose of these filters? The purpose of these filters is to be able to filter the data that will be rendered in each one of your views, providing you with the relevant metrics for that particular period or whatever you're wanting to filter against. And then lastly, you have all your visuals on your dashboard. As we mentioned earlier, not only can you remove visuals, but you can also add visuals. Let's see, how would you add a visual? What's the process? Well, as you scroll down, you will see that there are these big plus signs inside a card, which will inform you that you are able to add a visual. Now remember what we said to you earlier, the maximum number of visuals is 6, but you've already placed 4 of them, which makes sense. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and here's the 5th and 6th one. So you still got 2 more visuals that you can place on here. You're also able, as I say, to remove a visual. We'll look at placing them shortly. And to remove a visual, what you would do is go to the top right hand side of the visual you want to remove and press the X associated with that visual. So let's assume we want to remove the overview KPI card from this particular template because we don't need it. As you click on it, you'll see how all the other visuals realign themselves according to your layout, as well as suddenly you see that it will tell you that of the 6 that you're allowed, 3 have been placed on the dashboard, and you will now notice there is an extra card on which you can add a new visual. So how do we now go and add a visual to those cards that are empty? It's really quite simple. There are a couple of ways. All you need to do is go to the left hand side, and at the top as you scroll down you will see that there are a couple of search fields and a drop down list. Let's look at the search field first. So we're going to search for a particular visual. Let us assume you know what type of visual you're wanting. So we want to have a pie chart visual. And as I type in the word pie chart, all the visuals that are available that you can use will then be rendered in this left-hand part of the screen. You can then go to the actual visual that you're wanting. So for instance, we might want this interactions by day, and all we need to do is now we just grab that visual and we drag it to the empty card and we drop it there. Immediately we do this, that visual will appear. Please be aware that when we create these dashboards, the data that is displayed is actually static. It's a representation of the actual visual itself. So it's not actually showing your actual data. The only time your data will be rendered inside this visual is when you go to the My Dashboard. So just be aware, you might look at this and say, but that's not my data. And that is the reason is because it is a static image that we are placing on the screen here for you. So just please be aware of that if it's something that will make you a little bit nervous and not understanding why it looks like it does. Now that's the one way of being able to add a visual. The other way is to not use the search area, but to go to the drop down list. And from the drop down list you can go and select which type of visual you think will be appropriate. So I can go and say I would like to have a line chart, for instance, and clicking on the line chart, and then suddenly all the available line charts that you could use will be listed on the left hand side. And notice you can look at each one of the descriptions, hover over them, and it will tell you what that particular visual will do for you. So I'm just going to, for the sake of time, just grab any visual here and I drag it to the empty section, and as I let go it's going to be locked into that position. Now notice we have added 2 more visuals, and if we scroll to the top you will now see that this number has incremented by 2, and now you have 5 visuals out of the possible 6 that you are allowed. Now that you know how to add and remove visuals, let us see now how do we add and remove filters associated with this dashboard that we would like to use when we actually look at the dashboard itself. Well, we go down to the filter section, and any of the filters that have a X in the top right hand side, we can click on that X to remove the filters. So for argument's sake, I want to remove the KPI metric selector, because remember we removed that particular visual. So I'm going to go and click on that X over there, and notice it has now removed that filter. To add a filter is just as easy as it was when we added a visual. There are a couple of ways in which you can do it. If you earlier selected a visual type like we did and we had line charts, what you're able to do is you're able to go to the visual types, click on the drop down of the visual types and select filter. When you do that, on the left hand side will be all the filters and the line charts that are available for you that you can use. Now that might get a little bit cluttered. So what you're able to do is you're able to click on the X next to the line chart to remove that visual, the line charts, from what is available, and now you only have the filters. From here you're able to select which filter you would like. So for argument's sake, I'm just going to go and select I think there's one at the top here we should just go for. Let's just say overtalk. So I'm going to just get an overtalk filter, and I'm going to drag that overtalk filter to the right hand side. So now notice that this particular dashboard has two filters. It's a date filter as well as an overtalk filter, and when we run the dashboard we can select the overtalk values that we are wanting to see. The other way of adding a filter is, let's go back to where we were earlier, where we had our line chart. Now, and let's remove the filter section over here. So that's where we were earlier. Now, what we are able to do is, instead of now going and selecting filters from the drop down, what we can do is just clear all the types of filters that were rendered on the left hand side by pressing the X next to their name. And once all those visual types that we have selected are no longer present, what happens now is that all the filters will be displayed. So you can make sure that there are no selected visual types, and by default filters will be displayed, and then in the same fashion as we did earlier, you can just drag that filter across as necessary. And again, if you don't want this filter, you can press the X next to his name to remove it. Now that you know how to add filters, how to add visuals to your dashboard, the last thing I'd like to show you is how to add tags to your dashboard that you can use to filter those dashboards. We saw those in operation earlier. To do so, you go to the tags section, and in the tags edit box you can type in the tag that you want to plug onto this particular dashboard. So let's give it the name agent, and that's the tag I want. Click on the agent tag button, and now you'll see the tag agent appears. Incidentally, the reason why overview is here is because we are using a template, and what template had by default a tag attached to it, which was the overview tag. Now that you've added everything you want to your new dashboard that you've created based on a template, the very last thing you should do is actually give it a new name. So I'm going to change this one to My Overview Dashboard. So I'm going to give it a new name, My Overview Dashboard, and then if we want to, you can go and change the description. Now that you're happy with everything, the last thing you need to do is go and save the dashboard. And when you click on Save Dashboard, you will see that Callcabinet will give you a confirmation of the fact that this dashboard has been saved successfully. And immediately it will be rendered on your My Configured Dashboards page underneath the Manage Dashboards. And likewise again, you now want to look at the data that is inside one of these dashboards. What would you do? You go off to My Dashboards. You click on My Dashboards, and now there your dashboards appear. Remember, we said earlier that the dashboard with the blue boundary around it, or the blue border, is the one whose metrics are being rendered in its visuals. And that is the default one. But notice something interesting. My Agents was created before My Overview Documents, and My Overview was created before My Agents. So you might not like this order. What can you do to ensure that you would like to have My Overview Dashboard appear as the default dashboard when you open up the My Dashboards menu item? Let's see how to do this. To do this, you go back to your Managed Dashboards, and underneath Managed Dashboards, go to the dashboard you want to make the default dashboard. In our case, we want to make it My Overview Dashboard. You click on the pencil next to its name. By clicking on the pencil next to its name, you get into the editor of this dashboard, and all you need to do is go to Set as Default Dashboard. Click that checkbox by Set and setting it. Confirm that you are going to set it. Once you have done that and confirmed, click Save Dashboard. And once you do that, Callcabinet is going to confirm that the dashboard has been successfully saved. And now let's go back to My Dashboards and see whether My Overview Dashboard is the default dashboard. And there we go. It is the default dashboard, and after a few moments all its data will be rendered on the screen. You are now able to go and manipulate the filters as necessary and change the overtalk filter if necessary. So notice these are the filters that were associated with your overview dashboard. If you'd like to add a temporary filter to your dashboard, you can do that too from this position. You can go and click on Add Filter, and once again you can go and click on the actual filter that you want. So I'm just going to click on audio direction, and then you can go and decide which audio direction you want, and then that filter will be applied to your data immediately. So you're able to add temporary filters to your dashboard. You can remove that filter if you no longer want it any further, and once you delete it, your data should render accordingly. You can then go back to your other dashboards and start looking at the data that is applicable to those particular dashboards. Notice how the filters have changed that is applicable to that particular dashboard itself. Now that you know how to use a template to create your own dashboard without any modification, as well as how to use a template as a base to create a new dashboard and add and remove visuals from that dashboard, let us see how you are able to go ahead and create your own dashboard from scratch. In other words, where no template is involved. To do this, go to the menu item on the left hand side and click on Manage Dashboards, and make sure that you're inside the My Configured Dashboards tablature, and then go to the card that has a big plus sign on it that says Add Dashboards. Click on the plus sign. You will now notice that you are presented with a blank dashboard in which there are no filters, there are no visuals, there are no tags, and also you can see that you have 0 of 6 possible visuals applied to this dashboard. Now, if you have come to this dashboard and you are thinking, oh, I wish I had a template that I would like to use as a default, what you're able to do is you're able to click on the search templates on the left hand side. So if I start typing overview dashboard, I can then go and click on that overview, and immediately I get taken to that template that I can start using as a basis. We did that earlier. Let's not use that. Let me just show you how you can do it from scratch. So I'm going to revert back to our original non-template view. Now that we're back into this empty customizable dashboard editor, the first thing we'll most probably do is go and select the layout that we want. So we go and select, let's just say, all even squares. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to say my new dashboard, and then we are going to go and add a tag. I'm going to go and say agent again if I wanted to, and I'm going to save that particular tag. I can give it a description if I want to, which is an advisable thing to do, and I'm going to add some visuals. So to add a visual, I'm just going to go and type in the type of visual that I'm looking for. So once I've clicked on the visual that I'm looking for, I'm going to drag it across, and then I'm also going to clear that, and I'm going to look for instance a let's search for a date. So I'm going to look for a date, and then once I've looked for a date, I'm going to apply this as a filter. There we go, a date. I'm going to apply as a filter, and now you can see I've basically created a dashboard really quickly. So I've got my filters in place, I've got my visuals in place, I've got a tag in place, I've got my layout in place, and I have the name in place. Once I've done that, I can press the save dashboard. If I do not want to save this, all I need to do is close the dashboard editor and everything gets deleted. So let's go and save our dashboard, and upon saving the dashboard, Callcabinet will tell us that your dashboard has been saved, and notice that my new dashboard has been added to your Manage Dashboards, Configured Dashboards tablature. And if I go to My Dashboards, you will see that it is now sitting inside the carousel. And don't forget, you can rotate this carousel as necessary once there are more dashboards than can be viewed inside this carousel. I trust that this video has given you a good understanding on how to go about creating your own dashboards in order for you to view metrics regarding your account.